Mr. Bienvenu, in your testimony, you state that, to be clear, this is engagement, not divestment. We would agree, which is why the report this committee put out yesterday came to the same conclusion. Where we disagree is that your engagement is designed to fundamentally change business and industries to the detriment of consumers in a manner which is indeed not collaboration, but collusion. CalPERS is a founding member of Climate Action 100. Is that correct?
Climate Action 100 Plus was founded by Ceres, and CalPERS was involved in its creation early on.
And CalPERS is a founding member of Climate Action 100, correct?
Well, CalPERS is a founding member and a signatory to Climate Action 100 Plus.
And Climate Action 100 has 170 focus companies, 42 of them being oil and gas companies. Is that also correct?
Climate Action 100 Plus has 170 focus companies and 42 oil and gas companies, where we come together and discuss ideas and make independent decisions on how we. So
my statement is correct. Is that right?
As I said, Climate Action 100 Plus has 170 focus companies, as I said in my opening statement, and 42 of them are oil and gas companies, where we come together to discuss independent.
And one of the objectives of the Climate Action 100 is for these focus companies to reduce their emissions. Is that correct?
Climate change is something that is happening.
Would you please answer my question?
There's context to your question.
And one of the objectives of Climate Action 100 is for these focus companies to reduce their emissions. Is that correct?
Climate change is something that is happening.
Is that correct? Answer my question, please.
As I say, climate change is something that is happening.
Andrew Behar, the CEO of As You Sow, testified in his deposition that, quote, an oil and gas company could not reach net zero while continuing to produce fossil fuels, unquote. And As You Sow President Daniel Fugere testified that, quote, ultimately fossil fuel use has to be reduced, unquote. And GFAN's co-chair Mark Carney testified to the committee that, quote, more than half of the world's coal reserves need to stay in the ground in order for the world to be in line with Paris, unquote. So for the 42 oil and gas companies that Climate Action 100 focuses on, the way for them to reduce emissions would be for them to reduce their outputs. Is that correct?
Can you repeat the question, please?
For the 42 oil and gas companies that Climate Action 100 focuses on, the way for them to reduce emissions would be for them to reduce their outputs. Is that correct?
What we focus on with the companies that we engage.
Why won't you answer my question?
I'm attempting to answer your question.
No, you're not. You're trying to avoid it.
What we focus on with the companies that we engage is for them to be long-term
and to reduce their outputs, correct?
We would never suggest that an organization that is an oil company.
Is CalPERS committed to pursuing policies which cuts fossil fuel outputs, even if that would increase prices on the American people?
CalPERS is focused on generating returns to pay pensions over generations.
And even if it makes it more difficult for them to put gasoline in their cars?
Again, our North Star is about producing returns to pay pensions.
That's not what you write, and it's not what you've testified to previously. Ms. Luber, Ceres is a co-founder and member of Climate Action 100. Is that also correct? Has Ceres and Climate Action 100 identified the ag sector, especially livestock production, as an industry which must reduce its emissions?
Microphone,
Would you turn on your microphone, please?
I believe there are some ag sector companies in that cohort.
Okay, and there's no way for the ag sector to reach net zero without reducing beef production, is there?
I don't know that that's clear. There are ways to do farming. There are ways to create energy that are less greenhouse gas emitting. I mean, many of the oil and gas companies that you were talking about, it's not about not producing, it's about creating options and transforming their technologies and capturing the oil and gas emissions.
You know, it's very interesting to me. My mother is 100 years old. She'll be 101. And the changes that she's seen in the last 100 years are absolutely mind-blowing in terms of the technological advances, the increase in life expectancy, the decrease in infant mortality rate, our overall prosperity, what we have created in this country. And there's one reason why we have seen the prosperity in the last 100 years that has never been rivaled in world history, and it's because of the commercial production of affordable energy. Every single one of you and your organizations want to destroy that. You are evil, and what you are attempting to do and the violations of law that you are engaged in is absolutely stunning. And I think it's telling that you won't answer my questions. With that, I yield back.